In this video, I'm going to outline what the September 2022 housing market stats are for the Durham region, and I'm going to outline what's been happening in the market because yes, there's been another shift. According to the Durham Region Association for Realtors, we have seen a decrease in sales transactions by 17.8% compared to last month. So what does this decrease mean? In my opinion, one contributing factor that could be contributing to the decrease in sales is obviously the interest rate hike. So when the interest rate increases, it decreases one's purchasing power. To make this a little bit more clear, let me just explain this further. When the cost of borrowing increases, you can no longer borrow as much as you once could because the cost has increased. So if you were once eligible to purchase a home that cost $1 million, with an interest rate hike, you now can no longer afford a house that cost $1 million because, as I mentioned before, the cost of borrowing has increased. So unless you make more income or you can prove that you make more income, you won't be able to borrow the same amount as you did in the past. We've also seen a decrease in the number of new listings. To be exact, we've seen a decrease of 6.3%. What I've been noticing is that a lot more homeowners are hesitant to put their house on the market because they're no longer able, well, at least they don't feel as though they're able to get top dollar the way they could have in the past months. So they're more hesitant to put their house on the market for sale. But what I think is an important note for sellers to keep in mind is that inventory still remains really low. And what that means is that it's a supply and demand thing, right? If there's less to offer, the value of what's being offered remains high. So if there's less homes on the market for sale, then the value of those homes remain high because there's not much of it out there to offer. So if you look at things from this perspective, it actually still benefits sellers to put their home on the market if that's what they think is best for them at the time. So it's just another factor for sellers to consider if you're on the fence of whether you should put your house on the market or not. So in the month of August, the days on market remained at 17 days. Whereas now in September, we're seeing that the days on market is 18 days. So there hasn't been much of a change there. This number shows us that homes are still selling at a steady, normalized pace. A slight increase on days at market is not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually just normalizing. Homes are not meant to just sell off the market at a quick pace. It actually is a good thing that the days on market is increasing because it's allowing buyers to have reasonable time to go through and do home inspections or complete any type of financing that they need to do. And finally, the number that we're all curious about is that the average selling price of a home in Durham has actually slightly decreased by 0.5% compared to last month. I know a lot of us tune into videos on market updates to try and get some guidance as to when's the right time to buy or is it a good time to sell. My advice for you is this: there's never the best time to buy and sell unless it's the best time for you. You have to determine whether your actions are aligned with your goals. And what I mean by that is, do you want to buy? Is that what your goal is? Can you afford to buy? Or do you want to sell? And do you have a plan for when you're selling? Where are you going to go next? These are just some questions that I think would be helpful in asking yourself to determine whether now's the right time to either buy or sell. I've said this many times before. You can never time the market. There's a saying that goes like this: time in the market beats timing the market. And there's a lot to be said by this quote. It means that no matter how many market updates we read about or we listen to, it's never going to tell us exactly what we need to hear. It's going to give us some guidance here or there, but ultimately you have to look into your personal goal. I'll give you an example. When I first bought my income property, house prices were not cheap at that time, but buying an income property was my goal, and I was striving to get there. I had all the finances that I needed, but if I kept looking at the price of the homes going up, I'd never get into the market. I had all the funds in place, but if I allowed my fear of the unknown in hopes that, okay, maybe house prices is going to come down if I just wait a little while, I would have never got in. The main thing that I had to look into was basically my return on investment. If it was still going to be profitable for me to purchase this income property, then why would I hesitate to do so? In the end, it was a decision that I don't regret one bit. Yes, I purchased high, but it allowed me to get into the market and now continue to grow wealth by gaining equity and continuing to purchase and doing the same thing over and over again. The point of this story is that if you sit on the sidelines because you're just listening to what other people are doing, or you're trying to figure out when the best time is, you've heard this before, there's never the perfect timing for anything. So just keep that in mind. Focus on your goal. And if you need any assistance on determining whether, you have the means to go about buying, or whether it's a good time for you to sell because you have a plan to downsize, or whatever the reason may be, feel free to reach out to your realtor. Or if you would like, please feel free to reach out to myself, and I'd be more than happy to guide you through the process. I hope this video was helpful at analyzing some of the current stats that are happening in the September 2022 housing market update for Durham region. And if you have any questions, like I mentioned before, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.